Amsterdam, are you ready to party with me? New tracks from Luzo, BLR's remix of Tuvan, and the world premiere of my track with Hannah Lang and Wippenberg. Hour number 2, we are joined by Frank Spector for a French DJ mix. But I want to kick things off with Above and Beyond. They teamed up with Justine Suissa once again for a beauty of a tune, When I Look in Your Eyes.
Hi, this is John O'Grant from Above and Beyond, and this is one of our latest productions in a state of trance with Armin van Buuren.
it's the wrong time. Some say you'll never be mine, but I know it's not true. Some say all of this will fade. Can you just make it go away? Aren't you afraid? Are you sure you're not confused? Things fall into place when they're meant to be.
Vitarelli is the real name of Luso. I played you his latest one called Control right after my new single with RG and Marlo Rex, Like a Child. And the BLR updated version of the classic Gaia tune from 2009, Tuvan. Welcome, dear friends. It's a new episode of A State of Trance, episode 1277. How we feeling? And pretty awesome to be back here. It looks like you guys and girls are enjoying the new themes: pulse, energy, and frequency. 3 different mixes, 3 different styles. It's the theme of my new mix compilation, the album that dropped last week, A State of Trance 2026. The special merchandise and the CD plus special packages are running low, so head over to shop.astateoftrance.com. Ruben, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are
Good?
you?
Good. Yeah.
I'm so happy that that CD is finally out, because the 3 mixes, I mean, like I said, it's a new theme. So everybody's like, okay, this is going to be different, but it's nice.
It's
like it.
Well, it's basically on the beach in the
Same,
club.
but it's different. Same, but different.
But I was like, Who's Afraid of 138 for the third disc didn't feel really...
Because we're now Who's Afraid of 150 by
158,
now?
yeah. Well, you know, trends are changing in music, and thank God, not everything stays the same. But let's talk about something completely different, as Monty Python said.
Yes.
In a month from now, on June 12th, we will go to Hong Kong with the State of Trance Festival, followed by Vietnam on the 13th of June. And we still own you the lineup for Hong Kong, which will be aired as well, I think, right?
Yeah.
All right, Ruben, do you do the honors?
We're going to start with Armin van Buuren, Billy Gillies, Laura van Dam, Lawton, the new project of Ben Gold, Marlo, myself, Ruben Ronde, and another face-to-face, which we will announce soon.
Ooh, and it's a big name. I really can't wait to share it.
I'm so excited.
You know, this has to do with all the deals and managers and everything you guys don't see. It's a lot of...
But we promise you it's a special one.
But it's a special one.
Yes.
1 week later, on June 20th, we're going to Warsaw in Poland. Yeah, can't wait for that. And we did announce the face-to-face for that one. That's going to be Mr. John Summit. I'm so excited. Frank Spector is in the house. He's taking over hour number 2 of this radio show this week, so you don't have to wait for that really long. Are you guys ready for the tune of the week?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to explain this one because I literally got threats from people online saying, you have to release this track. There was a very simple reason I couldn't release it, because it has to do with rights. You know, we have to do everything officially by the book. And what I did, I created a new version of the cappella hit, You Got to Know. And I approached them and said, hey guys, hello. Well, in Italian, my best Italian. Not very good, but anyway, it turned out that the original cappella track already has 7 different samples. Oof.
Yeah.
So we had to go in and clear all those 7 samples, and it took so long. There was one guy that just didn't want to cooperate, but in the end, we managed to make it work. And it's out this week, and I'm so happy because I did this one a while back already with Hannah Lang and Wippenberg, the legendary DJ producer from Germany. So are you ready for the tune of the week, ladies and gentlemen? This is Armin van Buuren, Hannah Lang, and Wippenberg. You Got to Know. Turn it up!
Armin van Buuren's favorite record of this week's show. This is the tune of the week.
to trance heaven. Trance heaven. Right here, right now.
Lovely new release of Alex Morph. Track is called Embrace. Track before that, Pascal M, or better known as Pascal Minnaert, used to be part of Signum. Remember them? But at a certain point, they decided to step away from music. But he's completely back. He found his mojo again, and he's making tracks like this again. He teamed up with Scott Mack after making Coming On Strong all the way back in '99. They've now created The Remedy, and you can find this one also on my brand new album, A State of Trance 2026. You're listening to A State of Trance. I'm Armin van Buuren, and this is a studio full of amazing people. Make some noise! Let's quickly dive into our email box to see what came in this week. Ruben.
Yes, together with Tobias Ødegaard, we wish Peter from Oslo, Norway, a birthday.
And a great shout out to longtime listener Christina from Riga, but now living in Toronto.
Anthony Ineas from Kelowna in Canada sends a big shout out to his wife of 10 years.
And congratulations on the engagement to Carolta Kiemer and Mark from Girona in Spain.
And good luck Sergey Velaby and Olaf, my friend, for your upcoming move from Sydney to Perth.
Happy birthday, Flavia, from your boyfriend Alexandru from Romania.
And lastly, we want to send our support to Rai from England, who has been struggling with his mental health but is now recovering.
You got this.
Yeah.
All the best wishes to you guys. If you have any shouts, requests, birthday, anything you want to share with us, Armin@astateoftrance.com goes directly to the desk here in Amsterdam. And we won't share your email address with no one. We won't spam you. We just love to hear from you. And if you want to be in the studio like these wonderful people, they can actually tell you that this is not AI. This is real people playing real music. Studio.astateoftrance.com. Frank Spector standing by for hour number 2. I'm really curious what he's going to play. Trance from France. Let's see how that's going to go. But first, one of my all-time favorite records. I know, it's another rework. And there's been many, but this one has been done really well. Check it out yourself. Mike Push and Cast. This is Strange Worlds. Turn it up!
With me in this strange world.
What an absolute banger. Last week I played you a totally different sound from T78. This week he teamed up with Caroline Roxy for Tame My Demons. The beautiful uplifting track before that was Second Chemistry, Wide Awake, and Mike Push and Cast. Their new version of Strange World, the classic from Push. How we feeling, Amsterdam?
This music can take you to another world. We want to hear why a track means so much to you. Here is this week's Service for Dreamers.
And this week we welcome to the studio somebody from the Netherlands. I mean, why not, right? We always have people coming from really far away, but of course people from the Netherlands are welcome as well. Or Belgium or Germany. It's all about the story. We really want to know what trance does to you. I mean, I'm looking at in a black hole right here, and on the other side you guys are. Yes, you. I'm talking to you, watching this one right now. We want to know what this music does to you, so that's why we have this item called Service for Dreamers. Send us an email, armin@thestateoftrance.com, put in the subject line Service for Dreamers, and tell us the story, the most touching story. We will invite here in the studio to join us, and you can tell your story on air. Like now, I'm going to give the microphone to Imre Stuyfmeel from the Netherlands. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
You requested a track that we had to look really back for in the archives. Chris Metcalf and Sue McLaren. We love Sue McLaren. A track called Stardust. Can you tell us why this track is so important to you?
Yeah, well, I've lived in England for a while, and I tried to focus on myself and try to have more trust in myself and looking the way of life. And this track means a lot to me because it brings me back to those evenings in England, walking through the night sky and finding myself back again. And
were you feeling lonely when you were in England? Is that the reason? Can I ask?
I felt very lonely and hold on to wrong people, and that was a quite difficult time for me.
Of course, yeah. Well, why were you in England? Was that for work?
Well, there was a roommate of mine who did something horrible to himself, and I was the one who found him.
Oh,
and so that woke me up.
It woke you up?
Yeah.
Wow, what a deep story. I'm sure there's a lot more to it than this radio show can hold. But
it's a deeper story than that, but yeah.
I can see. Well, I'm glad that this music actually means so much to you. That's the reason why we have this item. So thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Here it is, especially for you. Chris Metcalf and Sue McLaren, Stardust.
Dawn is almost here.
Requested by Imre, his most meaningful trance track. He was here in the studio, and there's a lot more to say about it than we can fit in this radio show. But thank you for sharing the brief story, the brief version of it. Chris Metcalf and Stu McLaren, Stardust. And don't forget, every week you can listen to your favorite trance radio show wherever you want. YouTube or your favorite streaming portal, it's all available. After 5 amazing piano shows last week in Rotterdam, time to head back into DJ mode. This weekend I'm in the US, starting in Omnia, followed by Denver, Brooklyn, New York, can't wait, and EDC Las Vegas. Oh, can't wait for that, the sunrise set. All tickets and info on ArminVanBuren.com. Stay tuned for Mr. Frank Spector, he's here.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back with more A State of Trance. The world's hottest artists. The most exciting talents. This is an exclusive guest mix on A State of Trance.
Put your hands in the air, come on!
And we have another great artist to make his debut today in studio. His career took a turn about 5 years ago, and since then we've seen many big releases of him, like La Nuit, and of course his bromance with Doppenberg as a standing out project. Welcome, Frank Spector.
Please, thank you very much.
How you doing,
I'm very
man?
happy to be here, happy to see you again.
Finally, yeah. So, like I said, your career took a turn about 5 years ago because you started making techno after making hip hop for years.
Absolutely. As I said, I'm a hip hop DJ producer first.
Yeah.
Did some tracks in the US and France, and 5 years ago I started producing electronic music.
Yeah, which started out more techno-ish.
Absolutely. I was techno first,
Yeah.
I was getting tired of rappers, and I spent so many hours, and I was like, okay, let's do it by myself. Let's do some music by myself, and I started doing like techno music for the clubs, and I started DJing clubs in Paris. And I did this track with La Nuit.
Yeah.
I sent it to Martin, I think first, Martin de Jong. I said, oh yeah, I like that track, let me remix it. And we did La Nuit, Martin de Jong remix. Sent it to James, I think.
Yeah. And here we are.
Yeah.
Is your latest single, Voulez-vous, is it like a little of an, how do you say, like a nod to your past in the hip hop scene?
Absolutely. Voulez-vous is the idea came from a pop music, and I tried to do more club-ish, but house music.
Yeah.
More house music, more dancey, BPM way back, way low, like 110 or 100. I sent the demo. Funny because I sent a demo to Armin first.
Yeah.
I sent him a demo. Said, "Oh, hey, I like the track. Can you finish it?" I said, "Okay, let's do it." And I finish it. We have some back and forth about the track, and here we are.
And here we are for the guest mix.
Yeah.
All right, let's quickly move to the club for 1 hour in the mix with Frank Spector. Here we go.
Voulez-vous qu'on se frotte à la bête qui coule en toi? La vie regorge de promesses. folie.
juger à ta sortie.
Dans ce monde, les gens honnêtes ne peuvent pas réussir. Pourtant, ça devrait être ça, le rêve américain.
Je suis pas fragile, chose. Je ne voulais pas vous interrompre. J'ai su que t'étais capable de grandes choses.
C'est que le début. C'est moi qui vais mener la danse. Crois-moi.
Je suis pas fragile.
Je croyais que t'étais toujours.
Je ne voulais pas vous interrompre.
Et moi, je suis là.
J'ai su que t'étais capable de grandes choses. On m'a jugé à ta sortie.
Dans ce monde, les gens honnêtes ne peuvent pas réussir. Pourtant, ça devrait être ça, le rêve américain. Je croyais que t'étais toujours.
On m'a jugé à ta sortie. Je suis pas fragile, chose. Je ne voulais pas vous interrompre. J'ai su que t'étais capable de grandes choses.
C'est que le début. C'est moi qui vais mener la danse. Crois-moi.
Je suis pas fragile. Je ne voulais pas vous interrompre. J'ai su que t'étais capable de grandes choses.
Et moi, je suis là.
moment, il est là. Il est tout près de nous.
Thank you so much, Frank Spector. First thing I noticed is that your DJ technique is a little bit different than what we're used to here in the studio. Is that because of your hip hop background, or?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I try to keep the energy.
Yeah.
You know, and to go back from like they do in with the turntables. You go back to one track, one to another one. And I try to bring this energy and try to play a lot of tracks. Maybe too much tracks in 1 hour. So sometimes it's like, but I wanted to try something. It's very different from, you know, classic trance, you know, going back to from one track to another track.
Yeah.
And I try to keep the energy.
Absolutely, yeah. So Voulez-Vous is here now. What's going to be the rest of the schedule for the summer?
Yeah. So for now, for the summer, I'm doing some parties in the south of France, in Nice. And I'm pretty free, so if anyone, you know, let's go. You know, and after Voulez-Vous, I think we will have a follow-up single.
Okay.
In the same mood,
Nice.
with the French, you know, choruses and.
Amazing.
Yeah, that will be nice.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much once again, Frank Spector, for coming by. Next week, we're back with another artist making his debut in the studio, Ollie James. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in. For more info and tunes, check astateoftrance.com or join discord.gg/ArminVanBuren. We'll be back next week for a new episode of A State of Trance. A State of Trance.